Hello guys, welcome back to another video. And the last video got a shit ton of views. It got like over 150 views and counting, still going up right now. It got a lot, right? So I'm making a part 2 to it. Obviously I'm doing it from the year 1947 to the year 1979, because last video I did 1980s to 2024. And anyway though, so I'm going to go over the rules to this draft again. The last rule right here doesn't really apply, obviously, because this is an old-ass draft. All of these are old as shit. But, so, I'm drafting based on what they did for the franchise, how good they were for the franchise, what they were traded for, and if they made the Hall of Fame or not while spending a large portion of their career on that team that drafted them, and who they were drafted over. So, with the first pick ever, for the first draft pick ever in NBA history, and the first #1 pick as well, is Clifton McKinley. That's a non-applicable because I couldn't find any stats of him. I could only find his college stats. I don't know if he ever played for the NBA, and that's N/A. Now for the Providence Steamrollers in 1948, their #1 pick was Andy Tonkovic. That's an F. He averaged like 2.6 points per game across like 70 games, and only played one season for them. He was ass. 1949 against the Steamrollers, #1 pick Howie Shannon. That's a D. He was also not very good. He averaged like I think 5 points per game in like 3 seasons. Not very good. 1950 Boston Celtics, Chuck Scher, also non-applicable. I couldn't find any of his stats for the Celtics, so yeah, non-applicable. The Baltimore Hawks selected G. Melchior, I guess, is also non-applicable. Y'all can search this shit up on your own. I already spent enough time on making this. But yeah, I don't think I spent like 3 or 4 minutes trying to search for his stats. I couldn't find anything. Milwaukee Hawks, Mark Workman was their #1 pick in 1952. That's an F. He was also ass. 1953 Baltimore Bullets, Ray Felix. That's a B. He was pretty good actually. Not worth the #1 pick, I'd say. I don't know who else was drafted in 1953, but all I know is he wasn't like worthy of a B plus or A plus or any of that. 1954 in back-to-back years, Baltimore Bullets, #1 pick again. Frank Selvey, he's a C. He wasn't very good, but he wasn't that bad either, so that's a C. St. Louis Hawks, Dick Ricketts was their #1 pick in 1955. That's a non-applicable once again. 1956, the Rochester Royals, aka the modern-day Kings, C. Greens, he's a C-. He was also not very good. Cincinnati Royals, #1 pick, Hot Rod Hundley, also non-applicable. 1958 on the Lakers, our first A+, and you could argue he's an A++ as well, but Agent Elgin Baylor. I think he's the first Hall of Famer on this list, I think, yeah. I think he's the first Hall of Famer, and arguably like the 3rd or 4th best player on this list as well. 1958, he was the #1 pick for the Lakers. That was a very good pick, though. A+. 1959 Royals, again, Bob Boozer, he's a B+. He was actually pretty solid. 1960 for the Royals, once again, they selected Oscar Robertson. That's an A+. You could argue A++. At the same time, the only championship he won was with the Bucks, and like I said earlier, I'm considering what they did for the franchise. He did a lot, but I don't think he won him a championship. I can double check, but I'm pretty confident he didn't, so that's an A+ instead. Chicago Zephyrs, whatever, they're the Wizards now. Walt Bellamy, that's an A+. He was very good, actually. Yeah, he's a star player. That's an A+. Chicago Zephyrs, once again, Bill McGill, that dude was ass, D-. The Knicks, Art Heyman, C-, not very good. 1964, the Knicks once again, Jim Barnes, that's a B. He was pretty solid. 1965, the Warriors selected Fred Hetzel. He was also a B. He was pretty solid. 1966, the Knicks, the #1 pick, Cazzie Russell. He was a B. He was also pretty solid. The Pistons in 1967 selected Jimmy Walker. He's a B+. He was actually very good. And yeah, I don't know. You could argue he's a worth #1 pick. I don't know. 1968, the San Diego Ricketts, aka the San Diego Rockets. Elvin Hayes, that's an A+. He's Rockets and Wizards legend. He is a very good player. The Bucks, the best player on this list, obviously, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A++, won the Bucks a championship, has a bunch of MVPs, and also was the greatest player of all time until Michael Jordan and LeBron James showed up. So yeah. Ah, shit. Okay, I fucked that up. Whatever. 1970, the Boston Pistons. I meant the fucking Detroit Pistons. Selected Bob Lanier. He was a star player for him. He was very good. That's an A+. The Cavaliers selected in 1971 Austin Carr. He's a B+. He was actually pretty good. In 72, the Trailblazers selected LaRue Martin. He was F. He was also absolutely terrible. 1973, the 76ers selected Doug Collins. He's a B+. He was actually pretty good. 1974, Bill Walton, another A++. He won, I think, I know he won at least one, and I think he won two as well, and he also won an MVP with the Blazers. He was definitely worth that number one pick. That's an A++. The Atlanta Hawks selected David Thompson, and the reason why this is non-applicable is because he never played for the Hawks and ended up signing with Denver in the ABA and started being really good for the Denver in an entirely different league to that point, I think. So that's why he's an N/A. If he played for them, he would have been very good, though. Probably would have been an easy A, if not higher. The Rockets selected John Lucas with the number one pick in 1976. He's a C+. He was okay. He was mid. 1977, the Bucks selected Kent Benson. He's a C. He was below average, I'd say. Blazers selected 1978. The number one pick was Michael Thompson, aka Klay Thompson's dad. I know a lot of people know that, but I just wanted to point that out. It was pretty cool. He was a B. He was actually pretty good. Actually, dude was solid. And I fucking messed up on that again, but whatever. 1979, and the last pick, I guess, until the next video, the Lakers select Magic Johnson with the number one pick. A++, obviously. He's a top 10 player of all time, maybe even top 5 depending on who you ask. He is arguably the greatest point guard of all time, and yeah, that's an easy A+, and that is the end of the video. I'd say this list is pretty decent, even though the amount of non-applicables was kind of fucking annoying, because that's boring to have so many non-applicables, but that's what happens when you're talking about an old-ass era. So, yeah, that's that. Bye, guys.